And the big news, of course, that we are tracking, a helicopter Mi-17 has crashed at Naltar Valley in Gilgit during landing. While according to some reports, Pakistan Taliban has claimed responsibility for the attack, but the Pak army claims that it was a technical error and that this is a tragic accident that has happened in Gilgit. Ambassadors of Norway and Philippines to Pakistan have been killed in this chopper crash. In fact, the death toll is reported at 6 now, because when this chopper crashed, it hit an army school. The envoys of Poland and Netherlands have been injured too in the incident. So TTP, of course, sending out press releases claiming that it is a terror attack, that they were also targeting the Pakistani Prime Minister, but Pakistan's army, or the ISPR, their PR unit, claims that this is just an unfortunate and a tragic accident. Gaurav Sawant, our strategic affairs editor, joins us now from the newsroom. Gaurav, what more do you hear? Also, in terms of course, have all the dead bodies and the injured been flown back to Islamabad?
The bodies have now been recovered. The injured have been taken to the military hospital in Gilgit. There is a big army hospital. It's a big military location. As of now, the treatment of those who've been grievously injured, that includes 2 envoys, that's happening at Gilgit itself. They will be flown to Islamabad later today. That's what we're being told. But Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, according to Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan and the press release we've just put out on your television screen, Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan claims they shot down the helicopter. Their target was Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. But they're saying that the envoys and the Pakistan Army pilots are legitimate target. They're saying they've used a SAM-7, a surface-to-air missile. They will also be putting out pictures of that SAM-7 being fired to bring down the helicopter. That is what Pakistan's Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan is claiming in this press release that has just been issued by TTP in Pakistan. Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is back in Islamabad. He's condoled the death. Pakistan Army is now saying that a proper court of inquiry will be conducted to know how this helicopter came down. Prima facie, according to Pakistan Army, this appears to be a technical snag. According to terrorists, they've brought it down.
Gaurav, also have we heard in reactions coming from, of course, these countries whose envoys have either been killed or are injured?
Well, so far, no reaction. Pakistan's Prime Minister, he's condoled the death. Pakistan Army has condoled the death of the 2 envoys and the wives of 2 other envoys. There was an event, a ski resort was to be inaugurated, a ski lift was to be inaugurated. There was an excursion for all these diplomats in the northern areas of Pakistan, Gilgit and Baltistan. Extremely pretty part of illegally occupied Pakistan occupies, this part of Jammu and Kashmir. And that is where this excursion had been organized. Now, Pakistan's Prime Minister is back in Islamabad. Now, Pakistan Army is claiming that they will inquire into this incident. Why did this technical snag take place, or whether it was actually a terror attack. But while Pakistan Army has been carrying out a massive operation against the Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan in the other part, in the northwest frontier province, this is not an area where the TTP is active, Smita.
Well, also, Gaurav, in fact, Hamza Amir, our colleague in Islamabad, who was pointing out that Mr. Nawaz Sharif was himself, in fact, in one of those 3 aircrafts that was headed to Gilgit. Hamza, in fact, joins us now from Islamabad. Hamza, also take us through what really was planned in Gilgit. What was the event that had been planned, and how did everything, in fact, pan out?
Well, local sources from Gilgit are actually saying that there was a ceremony that was being organized, and the Prime Minister was going to inaugurate that session, and also the ambassadors were invited. But what the Foreign Office press release details that it was an excursion trip as part of a normal routine trip that keep on happening, during the year. Where the ambassadors and their spouses are actually taken to Gilgit-Baltistan areas, for excursion and for refreshment. So this is what the Foreign Office is saying. But what happened is that there were in total 4 helicopters, 2 of which were on the front side. This was the 3rd helicopter, and behind that was the protocol officer's helicopter. 2 actually were about to land, while the 3rd one was on its way on a lower altitude going down, when it actually had a malfunction as per the ISPR and the Foreign Office. And they say that before landing, the helicopter actually started having weird movements here and there, and that is why it actually did not land. It actually crashed down, and that is why all the other helicopters were actually rerouted back. Nawaz Sharif was also sent back to Islamabad, while right now, as we speak, the injured people have also been brought to Gilgit back from Naltar, and their bodies are being identified, and also whatever is required for the medical assistance immediately is being given to them, and they will also be brought back to Islamabad.
Hamza, also, following, of course, this TTP press release that claims that they actually brought down the helicopter by using anti-aircraft guns, and that pilots and foreigners killed were actually legitimate targets, as we are flashing on our screens as well. Post this release, has the army come out with a fresh clarification? Is it still sticking to its earlier stand that this was a technical accident?
Actually, the army's press release came, before the TTP press release came out, and they made it clear that it was a technical error. Now, what we understand is that all these 4 helicopters were moving in one line. There was not too much of a gap between them, because the people I've spoken to, who were one of the protocol officers in one of the helicopters, had said that they could actually see all the 4 planes in front of him. And we should not forget that Gilgit actually is a very mountainous range,
right.
the Baltistan area, and all the helicopters were moving in one line. So if one helicopter was able to be brought down, it was also very much likely that that would have continued, and all the 3 others would also have been targeted. So that is something that did not happen. Secondly, Taliban factions are not very active in those Gilgit-Baltistan areas, nor have we ever heard of there any terror activities happening around that area. All we hear about is the sectarian violence that occurs every now and then, but that is not something that would actually justify their capability to bring down an helicopter which actually is flying above the range of a normal gunfire. So I don't think, it might be a false claim, because this has happened in the past. TTP has recently, their separate factions have claimed responsibility.
Absolutely. So there are questions, of course, that punch holes in the TTP's, of course, theory here. The fact that they are claiming that they brought down these aircraft, but as Hamza was pointing out, that all the indications seem to suggest that this was a tragic accident. Thank you so much, Hamza Amir, as well as Gaurav Sawant, for joining us from the newsroom with all the latest in this case.